In the beautiful kingdom of Egodo, there was a princess named Esohe. Esohe was very kind and smart, but there was one thing she didn't like at all: laughter. She never laughed, and she didn't like it when others laughed around her. This made the whole palace very quiet and serious. One day, a young man named Osazuwa came to the kingdom. Osazuwa was a joyful person who loved to make people laugh. He could make anyone smile with his funny stories and silly tricks. When he heard about Princess Esohe, he was very curious. Why doesn't the princess like laughter? Osazuwa asked his friend Ihis. No one knows, Ihis replied. But everyone in the palace is afraid to laugh because they don't want to upset her. Osazuwa decided he wanted to help. He thought maybe Princess Esohe had never experienced real joy. So, he came up with a plan. The next day, Osazuwa went to the market and bought the funniest puppet he could find. He practiced making funny voices and telling jokes with the puppet. Then, he asked Ihis to help him get into the palace. When they reached the palace gate, the guard stopped them. "Where are you going?" one of the guards asked. "We have a gift for Princess Esohe," Osazuwa said, showing the puppet. The guards were curious, so they let them in. Osazuwa and Ihis walked through the grand halls of the palace until they reached the princess's room. Esohe was sitting by the window, looking very serious. "Princess Esohe, we have a gift for you," Osazuwa said with a big smile. Princess Esohe turned and saw the puppet. "What is this?" she asked, frowning. "It's a puppet, Your Highness. It tells funny stories," Osazuwa explained. He started making the puppet dance and talk in a silly voice. At first, Esohe just watched with a blank face. But then, the puppet said something so silly that she couldn't help but smile a little. Osazuwa saw the smile and felt encouraged. He made the puppet do even sillier things, and soon Esohe was giggling. But just as she started to laugh, a loud noise came from the courtyard. "What was that?" Esohe asked, her smile fading. Osazuwa and Ihis ran to the window and saw a large crowd gathered. In the middle of the crowd was a man with a stern face. "Who is that?" Osazuwa whispered. "That's Chief Osazuwa," Ihis replied. "He's very powerful and doesn't like it when people have fun." Osazuwa felt a chill run down his spine. He knew Chief Osazuwa could be a problem. But he also knew he couldn't let that stop him. He turned to Esohe. "Princess, we need to keep laughing. It's the only way to bring joy back to the kingdom." Esohe looked at Osazuwa and nodded. "But what if Chief Osazuwa finds out?" "We'll face him together," Osazuwa said confidently. "But for now, let's show him that laughter is not a bad thing." Just as they were about to continue their fun, the door to the princess's room burst open. Standing there was Chief Osazuwa, his face twisted in anger. "Who dares to bring laughter into this palace?" he roared. Osazuwa and Esohe looked at each other, their hearts pounding. What would happen next? Would they be able to change Chief Osazuwa's mind? Or would laughter be banished from the kingdom forever? Chief Osazuwa stood in the doorway, his eyes narrowing as he saw the puppet in Osazuwa's hand. Esohe stepped forward, trying to hide her fear. "Chief Osazuwa was just trying to make me happy," Esohe said, her voice trembling a little. Chief Osazuwa's voice was stern. "There is no place for such nonsense in this kingdom." Osazuwa took a deep breath. "But laughter brings joy, Chief. It can heal hearts and bring people together." The chief glared at Osazuwa. "You think laughter can solve everything? Do you know how many responsibilities the princess has? There's no time for such childish things." Esohe looked down, feeling the weight of her responsibilities pressing on her. But Osazuwa wasn't ready to give up. Maybe laughter is exactly what the princess needs. What the whole kingdom needs. Chief Osazuwa laughed, but it was a cold, mocking sound. You are a fool, Osazuwa. Leave the palace at once, or face the consequences. Osazuwa stood his ground. No, I won't leave. Not until Princess Esohe and everyone in the kingdom can laugh freely. Just then, a soft, gentle voice spoke from the shadows. Chief Osamudiaman, perhaps we should listen to what Osazuwa has to say. Everyone turned to see Queen Isosa, Iso's mother, walking into the room. She had a kind face and eyes that sparkled with wisdom. They ran through the panicked crowd towards the village. The night sky was glowing orange from the flames, and the heat grew intense as they got closer. Villagers were trying desperately to put out the fire with buckets of water, but it was spreading too fast. Osazuwa spotted a group of children trapped near a burning hut. We have to get them out of there, he shouted to Esohe. Without hesitating, Esohe and Osazuwa ran towards the children. Osazuwa used his puppets to distract the children and keep them calm while Esohe led them to safety. They managed to rescue the children just as the hut collapsed in flames. As they moved through the village, they saw that the fire had already destroyed many homes. Isohe's heart ached for her people. We need more help, she said, looking around desperately. Just then, Chief Osamudiaman and his guards arrived, carrying large barrels of water. Form a line, the chief commanded. We'll pass the barrels and douse the flames together. Osazuwa and Esohe quickly joined the line, walking alongside the villagers and the guards. Despite his stern demeanor, Chief Osamudiaman was relentless in his efforts to save the village. Slowly but surely, the combined efforts began to take effect. The flames started to die down, and after what felt like hours, the fire was finally under control. Exhausted but relieved, Esohe and Osazuwa sat down on a fallen log, catching their breath. The villagers began to gather around them, their faces showing gratitude and relief. Thank you, Princess Esohe, an elderly woman said, her voice trembling. You saved our children. Esohe smiled warmly. We did it together. All of us. Chief Osamudiaman approached them, his face softened with a hint of respect. Perhaps I was wrong about laughter, he admitted quietly. It seems it has brought us together in a way I didn't expect. Osazuwa grinned. Laughter has a way of doing that. Suddenly, a young boy ran up to Esohe, tugging at her sleeve. Princess, there's something you need to see, he said urgently. Curious, Esohe and Osazuwa followed the boy to a small clearing at the edge of the village. There, they found a hidden grove with a single, beautiful tree standing in the center. Its branches were adorned with glowing flowers that shimmered in the moonlight. This tree has been here for generations, the boy explained. It is said to have magical powers. Maybe it can help us rebuild our village. Esohe gazed at the tree, a sense of awe and wonder filling her heart. It's beautiful, she whispered. Osazuwa nodded, feeling a sense of hope. Maybe this tree is a sign. A sign that even in the darkest times, there is always a light. Just as they were about to explore further, a mysterious figure emerged from the shadows. The figure was cloaked and hooded, their face hidden. They spoke in a soft, melodic voice. The tree is indeed magical, the figure said. But its magic can only be unlocked by those who truly understand the power of joy and unity. Esohe and Osazuwa exchanged glances. Who was this mysterious figure? And what did they know about the tree's magic? Could they really unlock its power and use it to help their people? The answer seemed just out of reach, but one thing was certain, their adventure was far from over. The mysterious figure stepped forward, their cloak shimmering in the moonlight. Esohe and Osazuwa watched in awe as the figure revealed their face, a wise, elderly woman with kind eyes. I am Yuan, the guardian of this magical tree, she said. This tree's magic can restore what was lost and bring even more joy to the kingdom, but only if its magic is awakened by a true act of unity and joy. Esohe and Osazuwa looked at each other, understanding dawning in their eyes. "What must we do?" Esohe asked. Yuan smiled. "Gather the villagers and the palace members here. Share a moment of genuine happiness and unity beneath the tree. The magic will respond to your collective joy." Without wasting a moment, Esohe and Osazuwa ran back to the village and the palace. They gathered everyone, villagers, guards, and palace members, and led them to the hidden grove. Despite their exhaustion, everyone was curious and hopeful. Standing beneath the glowing tree, Esohe addressed the crowd. "Tonight, we faced a great challenge together and overcame it with courage and unity. Now, we have the chance to rebuild and bring even more joy to our kingdom." Osazuwa stepped forward with his puppet, ready to lighten the mood. He began telling a funny story, his animated performance drawing laughter from the crowd. The laughter spread, growing louder and more heartfelt as everyone joined in. As the laughter filled the air, the tree's flowers began to glow even brighter, casting a magical light over everyone. Suddenly, the tree's branches swayed and a gentle, sparkling rain fell from the flowers, covering the villagers and palace members. The moment the magical rain touched the ground, the burned houses and damaged structures started to rebuild themselves. Walls rose, roofs mended, and the village was restored to its former glory, even more beautiful than before. The crowd gasped in amazement, their laughter turning into joyful cheers. Chief Osamudiaman, standing with Queen Esohe, couldn't help but smile broadly. "This is incredible," he said, turning to Esohe and Osazuwa. "You have brought a miracle to our kingdom." Queen Esohe stepped forward, her eyes shining with pride. "This miracle happened because of you both. You reminded us all of the power of joy and unity." Yuan, the guardian, watched with a contented smile. "The magic of this tree will continue to protect and nurture your kingdom, as long as you remember the importance of joy and togetherness." Esohe turned to Osazuwa, her heart full of gratitude. "Thank you, Osazuwa. You changed my world and our kingdom with your laughter and courage." Osazuwa smiled, his eyes twinkling. "And thank you, Princess Esohe, for believing in the power of joy." As the night went on, the kingdom celebrated their restored village and newfound unity. The festival of laughter continued with even more joy, knowing that their bond was stronger than ever. From that day forward, the kingdom of Benin thrived with happiness and prosperity. Princess Esohe laughed freely, bringing joy to everyone she met, and Osazuwa became a beloved figure in the kingdom, known for his humor and bravery. And so, the kingdom lived happily ever after, united by the magic of laughter and the power of joy. As the stars twinkled overhead, the kingdom of Benin basked in the warmth of laughter and unity. Princess Esohe and Osazuwa had shown that even in the face of darkness, joy could prevail. With the magical tree as a symbol of hope, their kingdom flourished, guided by the wisdom of Queen Esohe and the kindness of its people. And so, as the tale of the princess who hated laughter and the man who changed her world comes to a close, let it be a reminder that laughter is indeed the most powerful magic of all.